The Niles S&A Silent Film Museum is known primarily for its silent film screenings with live piano accompaniment. But what remains behind the scenes are thousands of artifacts and films in our ever-growing archival collection. In this new series, we will highlight recently obtained and noteworthy acquisitions at our museum. The device on the table being inspected by David Keene has recently arrived, acquired from George Mihal at the Office of Image Archaeology in September of 2022. It is determined to be a contact printer, a device that uses two film prints buttressed against each other in transport. One print is processed negative, the other positive printing stock. The resulting positive will be used to create release prints or work prints used in editing. What remained unknown is who manufactured it.
Any idea of the company?
That's what I'm going to try and figure out.
Yeah, it's a little hard to just on first glance.
Yeah, I'm suspecting that it was for a studio that had a whole bank of these, and they probably were not selling them. And all of this has got 48 all over it, indicating that it was the 48th one to be made.
Yeah, that's on the door over there. It swings out too.
Mm-hmm. So I can see a whole bank of these just running all day and night.
It didn't take David long to figure out what exactly this machine was, after finding photographs at the Philadelphia Free Library website. A Lubin Studio step printer.
Today we're looking at the Lubin step printer, part of our collection. It has been taken apart into its components so that it can be cleaned up, studied, and put back together so that it's actually running again. The workmanship on this machine is really good, very professional. It's something that was made in Lubin's own machine shop, and there's no label on here or anything like that, except there is a marking that says 48, I believe, yeah, indicating this is the 48th one of these made. And that's backed up by a photograph that shows the whole laboratory with dozens of these machines set up to operate. This machine is over 100 years old, made somewhere, I'd say before 1910. I believe it was used to make the work prints for the negatives that were shot at the studio. They were really active, and so these machines were operating all the time. They were set up with a pulley and belt system that would gang up all the machines so that they could operate together or independently. And it's called a step printer because each frame is moved into position, contact print with the negative and the positive film stock. An exposure is made, and then the next frame is moved up into position to expose the next frame, one after another, like steps. Put together at the gate here to make a contact, single, it's like a step printer, one frame at a time.
One of the earliest iterations of such a thing, or automated.
We've got, the one on display is an Eberhard Schneider step printer from 1910 or so.
Mm-hmm.
But they were doing that earlier than that as well. A DC motor operated the mechanism. And the aperture just opened and closed one frame at a time, and this light bulb would expose the film. You could move it in and out to change the exposure. And as you can see, it took forever to get a roll of film going through there. The film would go down and drop into a bag. So you'd have to take the bag out after you were finished exposing the film, separate the negative and the positive, and then get the positive developed. Very primitive. It only held, well, there's probably only room for maybe 200 feet of film in here, which was a standard roll from Kodak. This is an original can for holding 200 feet of 35 millimeter printing stock. And the negative would be on the outside, the positive film in the can to prevent any accidents of getting it exposed. And by the time Bell and Howell invented their continuous contact printer, this became obsolete. The other type of printer that's common now, that was rarer in this time when this was made, was a continuous printer that would just flow through without stopping and starting, and it was continuous instead of intermittent. Intermittent movement is actually pretty much akin to a camera movement, and in fact, if you were ambitious, you could actually turn one of these printing units into a camera by enclosing it in a box and putting a lens on it, and then you could make movies with this type of setup. It's a really great intermittent movement, actually based on the Lumiere brothers cinematograph of the 1890s. And their camera was also a printer, a step printer, and a projector. And theoretically, this could have been a projector too if you wanted to turn it into one. Pathé bought the patents rights to the Lumiere system and built their cameras pretty much on the same system. And I think the Pathé is what was copied by the Lubin company. It really looks a lot like the Pathé movement that was an improvement on the Lumieres. It's got a cam movement that moves the film up and down with a pair of claws, and a harmonic cam that moves the claws in and out so that it pulls the film up, lifts off the perforations, comes down and comes back in, and then lifts off the next perforations. You can see, if you look closely, the point where the perforators are moved up on the cam, and we can even compare it to the Pathé cameras that we've got here. So you can see on the wheel here, it's moving in and out, same way as the step printer is. As it advances each frame. So this was enclosed in a wooden box, also built at the Lubin factory, and behind it was the lamp house on a cast iron frame. Enclosure for it fits over the top like this, so that you're not getting any light into the room any more than you need to. It's got some inspection hatches that can slide up and down, and even a door to get to the exposure wheel, which is very clever. These wheels that control the exposure are interchangeable. You can get either complete openings that you could put neutral density gels in to have specific exposures, or you could put on a wheel that was already pre-cut for different exposures. And these numbers match up to a device on the side that you can change the setting from the outside without very much trouble at all. And you see a window that that corresponds to what exposure setting you're putting the wheel at. The light is just a regular light bulb that can be moved into position or moved away so you can change the wheel. And the printing head fits in the front here. This is the take-up magazine. Very elaborate so that the film is wound up and separated. The positive stock and the negative are separated in the magazine after the exposure, so you can take it apart pretty easily. It's on the top here. And there's a control mechanism that is geared up so that it all functions correctly. Below the printer is the feed box that was actually enclosed in another cabinet, and it's much simpler because you don't need any gearing. It's just pulled up, and so the negative and the film stock get joined together as it comes out the box.
We hope you've enjoyed this debut of our new series. Be on the lookout for more segments in the future. Like the video and subscribe if you're so inclined. And visit our website at nilesfilmmuseum.org for information about upcoming shows, past events, memberships, and donations. Until next time, thank you for watching.